Hey guys, welcome to BBMPulsers. So in this video I'd like to show you strip coil running on 2.4 Tesla circuit. Here you have 220 volt DC BBMPulser 5B full PCB kit circuit. This allows you to pretty much put together all pulsar on a single board. In this setup I have to use transformer here to step up the voltage, because I have 110 volt AC here, and I have new coil attached to it. So this is a new coil that's made out of strip wire compared to previous setups that I used to use this 14 gauge copper wire to make a coil. So the new one, which is I'm testing right now and I like it so far, it's made out of a strip wire just like this, and it's encased here in a plastic. So for this coil I have to double the wires, so total I'll have 4 thick wires going to the coil and 2 small wires going to the thermal sensor and the backlight, south pole indicator. So here in this setup I have my Tesla meter configured to pick up a highest value, and it's ready to get some measurements from this coil. So I'll go ahead and energize it and let's see what we're gonna get. By the way, this coil is sealed. It doesn't have the holes here anymore, so it could even be submerged in the water. I don't recommend it, but it could be. This coil is much more quieter compared to the one made out of wire, round wire. And another thing, guys, that with this coil it works well, let's just say it has a lower internal resistance compared to the other one, and because of that it's able to discharge capacitors quicker, and because it discharges capacitors quicker it produces more intense pulse. So when with this coil you will trigger the muscle with 2 Tesla or so, not like with the previous setup. So let me get this energized and we'll get some measurements. Okay. So the power starts with 1.1 Tesla and it pulsates. You can hear it rate almost like once a second. Let's go ahead and increase some power. 1.3 Tesla, 1.9 Tesla, and let's go all the way. 2.665 Tesla. And the pulsation speed is about 5 seconds, I'd say. There was a pulse now. Takes about 5 seconds. Pulse again. So that's what I like this 220 volt AC PCB is, because it pulsates faster compared to 120 volt AC. This probably has to do with starting voltage. One starts with 120, another starts with 220, and they both have to reach 800 volts to store into this capacitor bank. Alright guys, let me show you the bottom side of this setup, and I'll tell you what I did in the bottom here to make sure I am able to run. So this pathway here, along this way here, I had to add some solder in here. Also I had to solder here, also add some solder in here and solder here. this bolt is soldered to this pathway. These pathways normally will get a little extra solder on them. Okay, also guys, I've noticed that this heatsink might need to be a little larger for this setup. If you run it on 1 Tesla all the way down, it pulsates fast and you gotta have air blowing through it. This fan is actually enough, so if you have this 15-watt fan constantly blowing, that should be sufficient enough to remove all the heat, mostly from the resistor. This will barely get hot, barely get warm if you have a fan blowing through it. The coil is gonna get double wires, so 2 12-gauge wires coming in and 2 12-gauge wires coming out. Not like previous one, just get single 12-gauge wire. Alright guys, just wanted to show you this setup, and by the way, I tested it for a few days already and I like it so far, and I think this should work. I don't see why it shouldn't. So now we can use and try using a strip wire coil for BBMPulser 5B setup. If you find this video useful, if you like it, share it. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.